Hi guys, today I have Beth Dovey. Sorry, how can I pronounce your last name, my darling?
Dovey.
Dovey.
Yeah.
And she is a relationship and empowered communication coach. After realigning her life with what lights her up, Beth has designed her business alignment coaching services around her values. Beth has the honor of facilitating women and men to connect with themselves and their loved ones in a more fulfilling and authentic way. She helps men and women heal from the past, break through limiting beliefs, and feel empowered to speak their truth and communicate purposely in relationships. Working with women and men after or during a relationship breakdown, Beth has a background in biomedical science and human psychology, understanding the physiology and psychology behind human development and trauma. Beth integrates coaching methodologies, method dynamics trademark, positive psychology, evidence-based methodologies, and counseling skills to assist her clients. Beth loves seeing her clients shift from everyday communication with their loved ones to communicating with authenticity, confidence, and compassion. She loves nothing more than seeing her one-on-one clients transform in front of her. Thank you, Beth, for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's fantastic to be here.
Amazing. So I already have my questions prepared because I'm so into this.
Awesome.
So why did you decide to be a relationship and empowered communication coach?
So, my journey started about 6 years ago when I left my marriage. And so, I've spent the last 6 years really working on myself and being able to work out the how to really move forward. And so, I was in a highly a narcissistic codependent marriage for 14 years, relationship for 14 years. And it was a point where I really realized that we were in this argument. We were not, he was asking, why would I want to leave? And it was that point where I couldn't articulate it. I couldn't, just didn't have the words.
Mm.
And I was able to, he then kept talking just the way he does. And I was able to just turn around and say, that the way you've just spoken to me, I never want to be spoken to like that again.
Mm.
And he said, you never spoke to me like, you've never told me that before. And I was just, oh, and the penny dropped. It was just, oh my God. I didn't think I would have to tell my husband that I just expected him to talk to me kindly.
Mm.
And so it was that point where, I was on the ground crying and sobbing and just unable to move and function. And it was that point where the tears stopped. The clarity was there that we have completely different values. This is not going to work if we can't even have the same definition of what kindness is. And so from there, I started my journey. I finally got the guts to leave the marriage, and I started the journey of reconnecting with myself, really I wanted to experience life, and I wanted my kids to understand what happiness really looked like. So that's what got me started. I was starting to look after myself, look after my health, and I lost weight and was just starting to feel a lot more alive again.
Mm.
So fast track 6 years, it was 2 years ago now, I came across a course on the weekend. It was on my one kid-free weekend, and it was all about limiting beliefs. And that's where I met you, actually. You came and offered me some free coaching sessions, which was so cool. And so I signed up to this coaching course, which I saw as I was studying naturopathy at the time, and I wanted the healing. I wanted to have real full body healing, because from the I had and years of running businesses and working nights as a medical scientist and 3 kids, I had a lot of stress and wear and tear on my body. And so I was really trying to heal and restore myself. And so I saw that understanding the mind as part of really connecting that whole healing process and getting real deep, lasting results. However, I then deferred naturopathy because life coaching lit me up, and that's where, when I started my business, because the medical science didn't align with my values anymore, and I was able, whereas the coaching is just what I want to do. I'm designing it around my values and around my kids and making the business work for me, to be able to live a life full of life and aliveness.
That is so wonderful because you already know how you suffer and you are there to help those women.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
So yeah, being able to give back to people who have been in the same situation now as well.
Yes, yes. So how
amazing, because I know what that's like.
Exactly, because you know how that likes, you know about the narcissistic behavior, the codependency, and you separate from that. You're away from it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's amazing. So how coaching serve you in your separation?
So the coaching, I worked with a number of coaches over my process, over the 6 years. And at first it was very much just getting a little bit of self-love back, having someone believe in me before I believed in myself. I remember my first coach, and I still have it on my mirror in my bathroom, he gave me the affirmation, I am a beautiful, motivated goddess. And so that, at that time, I just kind of laughed at that affirmation because it was just like, goddess, are you serious?
Yeah.
But it's something that you just start to embrace, and you start to feel your empowerment and feel empowered. And so yeah, it was from the beginning where it was just the encouragement and the affirmations to now, there's still unlocking deep suppressed emotions. I do a lot of emotional intimacy work and to get those emotions unlocked to really be able to move forward and heal all those traumas that have compounded over the years.
Wonderful. That is wonderful. How important is to get coached to improve our relationships?
I really think coaching is so important when it comes to the relationships, because there's all these different methodologies, but what I found with coaching, and particularly in my journey, I was also at times seeing a psychologist, and I got to the point with the psychology that it just became a bitch session. I didn't want to bitch about it anymore. I didn't want to keep talking about it. I wanted to know, how can I move forward? How can I change? What am I doing wrong? Because usually a psychologist does not sit there and tell you what you're doing wrong. Whereas part of that awareness, part of the healing and the moving forward is actually creating that awareness around the things that we don't necessarily do fantastically and things that can improve. Because if you don't look at your weaknesses, you can't actually keep getting stronger, because by bringing up your weaknesses, that's going to help you be even stronger and more empowered individual. So coaching in relationships, the process is so much around actually looking at, well, how can I do something differently? How can I, and this is in the one-on-one work that I do with my clients. I've got a client at the moment, and we're going through each of her relationships in her life and helping her understand the behavior patterns, helping her understand where the narcissistic and codependent behavior types come in, to be able to build compassion for the person she's in the relationship with. And so these are family members of hers. So rather than just completely removing them out of her life, like that would involve her losing her whole family. It's about understanding where people are coming from and teaching them skills to be able to communicate with love and compassion, rather than putting them into a label and saying, well, you're a narcissist, so I want you out of my life. It's very much about, there's sometimes, particularly when we go deep into our tribal cycles, our family patterns, which have been there for generations, when we go deep into them, those traits and those common behavior types can carry through. So it's about actually, well, where have we gone wrong? How do we reconnect with ourselves that helps us to be more empowered and attract people of different energy types, and be able to, and when our mother even, or our partner who is a codependent, who's driving us nuts, and not speaking up when they, when they've got something to say, and they keep suppressing stuff, so then they come out with passive aggressiveness and or just explode at some point. It helps those, your communication not get to that point. You get to it right at the beginning, where you can actually just start having resourceful conversation and speak up and speak your truth and pull your partner up. I know there was a situation where I was talking to a really close friend, and this has been my journey as well, where I didn't speak up, and I realized I wasn't speaking up myself. And so being able to have that safe space, it takes you to create that space yourself and request that from the other person. So rather than just pushing them away and saying, oh, you're a narcissist, I don't want to talk to you, it's actually about, hey, I'm trying to communicate to you my needs right now. And it may mean if they don't respond to that, in my case, he actually ended up saying, yes, you're quite right. And he softened, and he came back to the conversation, and we were able to have the resourceful conversation. But it depends when people actually, how you can then, at least you've spoken your truth, you've requested your needs, you've said what it is you need from the other person, and then you can make the choice. If they have the option to respond, they have the option to do what you're requesting of them, and if they don't, well, then you've got the choice of what to do from there. But it's about getting your communication in a way that they're going to hear it, so can have that choice to respond, rather than just putting them into this little label and just pushing them away and not being able to get
this
those
is so good, because what I have heard is all the time is people all saying, no, if you have been in a relationship with a narcissist, you have to have zero contact when you break up with the guy. But in your case, you have kids with him, so anyway, you need to have a communication, and you need to have this kind of relationship, this only parenting thing. And I can understand now your point where you say, what about if we look at him or her in a compassionate way? Because he didn't choose to become narcissistic. She didn't choose that. So it's according to what happened.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
He doesn't know even that. He's not conscious about his behavior. We do, because we are coaches. We are trained for it. But in his case, he doesn't know. He's a normal human being. It's like, why my partner is saying to me that? Why? No. And what they tend to do, they tend to shut down. And what you're saying is, no, it's just express yourself. Hey, I want to have a communication with you, and let's talk about this. So because you put that in place, he turned around, he said, okay, so maybe he already gave the meaning of something else. But after when you express what you wanted to say, just to have a communication with him, a normal conversation, he opened up. Because that's what narcissists they do. They shut down. They believe everything is like wrong with them. If somebody is just true to themselves, like you are true to yourself and to what you want for your kids as a mom, and for that reason you talk from that truth to him. And for him is confronting. But anyway, you express yourself so easily. You have the compassion for the guy, and the guy has to listen to you. So that is amazing. Wonderful. Well, my next question.
Thank you.
How important is to fight for what the woman deserves after a separation with a narcissist? Because he was your husband. You have to go through the divorce, and What about the stuff? I don't know what stuff you have, but materialistic and plus the custody of the kids. So can you tell me one?
So, yeah, now in hindsight, I potentially would look at doing things differently now that I understand to what I did, because I walked away from everything. I've had to rebuild my life.
Wow.
Yeah, everything. I went bankrupt to get my name off the house because I didn't have much value for the materialistic things. And he had threatened to take it through court, and we'd be caught up in the court system for a couple of years, and the money you would need to fight that, I didn't have it, and we didn't have it. And so my choice was to just walk away from everything and start all over again. And now I really see that I did deserve, there's at times the kids will talk about things, and it's, at times I do have little things like, well, I worked my ass off for 14 years for that. And I still don't get anything at all. And, he ripped me off in all these different ways, just any of the assets. And so that takes a lot of work to really move on from, because there's things now that I know I want, for my coaching course. It's a 30 grand coaching course. If I had a little bit of money from that could help pay for that. It would just relieve the financial stress.
What could you do differently? So, for example, if you are back in time, would you fight for what you deserve?
I would recommend to anyone. Yes, number one, I would call him on his bluff. So actually caught him on the shit that I negotiated to try and be fair. He negotiated and said, no, you can hand the house over to me, but you still have to pay all our debts for the next however many years. And I'm like, no, not happening. If you want the house, you take over the debts. So I would really help people to just trial the water, call them on their bluff first, and being able to. So that's one of the big things that I've learned. Call them on their shit. Say, no, you're not being fair, or whatever it is. That's not happening. So it's about standing up for yourself, but that takes guts and that takes confidence, and also understanding how narcissists work. And being able to,
like, what is the level of the narcissist you are dealing with?
Yeah, that's right, definitely. And being able to, like, now, if I was to walk away from it now, I would have the language that I would be able to just stand up for myself and fight it and call him on his shit. Back then, I didn't. And so that's the biggest thing that I would really recommend, is understanding those patterns. And, you're only going to get that through working with a coach, really. As quick as you will need it at that point in time, through that time, you would need to be, because coaching can be a much faster process. So having that understanding about those behavior patterns, and part of coaching, one of the methodologies is actually teaching those behavior patterns. Whereas I know when I was with a psychologist, I just didn't get that information that I wanted to really give me the understanding I needed. And also being able to have your support network who can help you through that, and outside of your parents as well, because chances are your parents have similar dynamics as well. So I have actually come across a fantastic financial advisor. Her name's Helen Baker, and she works with people after divorce, being able to help you through that process and help you work out whether you're getting a fair exchange and split. And she's also written a book. I didn't bring it in with me. I bought a few books that I'd recommend to people, but I didn't bring that one. On Her Own 2 Feet, which talks about rebuilding after divorce on the financial sense.
That is amazing.
And so I'd highly recommend working with a coach who knows about the narcissistic codependent dynamics and how that all works. And I do a lot of this work in my Move Forward and Thrive co-parenting course, which looks at different ways. It's just a half-day course. It looks at different ways to be able to go into understand the behavior patterns and what's going to help you to build more compassion for other people. As well as my healing circle, where we do go into different things that it's just at the moment it's just online, and it's just a couple hours where we have a discussion. It's called Be Seen, Be Heard, Connect and Be You. And so it's giving you this safe space to really start speaking up. And we set down ground rules at the beginning that it's a safe space and no judgment. And it just gives you that opportunity to start speaking up, and being able to see a few of my clients in that process. And just over each session, the more, how confident they are in actually speaking up and sharing and having their go to say stuff is really, it's beautiful to see. Just by having that chance to practice and throw ideas around is fantastic.
This is so good, because what I can perceive here, you can help these kind of women who are in this kind of relationship, narcissistic and codependency, in a few things. Because the woman who has experienced narcissism is like they have the trauma bonds and the gaslighting and all of those stuff, where the woman needs to build herself up, related to trust herself again in order to have a future relationship. And as well the relationship with herself. So this victim, these women have been abused and used. So what you are offering it, that is really good, because they need to heal. They need to express their anger as well, because everything is like it's like a ball. Imagine it's a ball you try to sink in the swimming pool, where the ball all the time comes up, all the time comes up. So that is the roller coaster of the emotions to these women who has experienced this kind of relationship where narcissistic and codependency. And it's what really good that now how to help these kind of women who want to fight for what they deserve. Because it's what is the kind of narcissist they are dealing with. It's like level 5, level 4, level 3. So if we as coaches, we know, but these women, they need our help, and you are offering very good programs, and that is amazing.
Thank you.
So by the way,
I just around kids as well, how do you, because you're only staying in contact with this person because you've got kids, because otherwise you take the easy option and just have no contact. However, when there's kids involved, it's so different to a normal relationship breakup. There are so many more mind games that come into it. And so having that support and having a coach to be able to understand those things is so important. And being able to help teach you how to teach your own kids and be aware of the different behavior patterns as well, so they don't fall into the same patterns that you did.
That is so important. You help that as well.
Yeah.
It's really good, because the kids defend parents no matter what. For kids, we are the magical big people, and no matter how that is, no matter how the mom is, they defend them. But to have a father who is narcissistic, that is a different conversation, because children can become narcissistic, or can become people pleasers or joker or any other role.
That's right.
To protect themselves. So that is so important. So if any woman who is watching this, or if you know somebody who needs this, please share this video, because they are going to benefit from it. So where women and men can find you?
So I have my Facebook group, Facebook page, Alignment Coaching Services. And I have a couple free groups as well, which one's Communicate to Connect, and the other is Heal and Thrive, Reconnecting with Self and Emotional Intimacy. So I'm pretty sure they're public groups. you'd have to request to join. And I'm also on Instagram. I do a little bit on Instagram under Alignment Coaching Services, and LinkedIn as well. My website is currently getting updated, so that's not going right now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, Beth. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And guys, beautiful women, people who's watching this video, in the description below is everything, all of the details where you can connect with Beth. And remember, if you know somebody who is dealing with these issues, please share this video. They're going to benefit. And connect with Beth. She knows what she's talking about. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. And thank you, Beth, again.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the chat. Bye.
Bye.